Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chua, physical therapist, and yes, today we are gonna talk about the 5 habits of healthy, wealthy, happy human being with Joel Remandaban. He's also a physical therapist. We'll be back in a few seconds. Okay. Good evening, good evening, good evening, my Facebook friends, YouTube friends, podcast friends. If you're watching live, comment live. Watching on a replay, comment replay. Well, before I keep on going, thank you very much for those people who've been subscribed and following our YouTube channel and also our podcast. I really, really appreciate you, every single one of you, and those people who are following and everything. But before I keep on going, if you need CEU, continuing education units or classes, check out medbridgeeducation.com, medbridgeeducation.com. Use the code ALTERNATIVE, ALTERNATIVE. It gives you like, I think, 40% discount. All right, but before I keep on going, again, I just would like to encourage you. I got this little thing here, a calendar that I I bought. It says here, just you being there, whether you're a woman or a man, changes the whole thing. All right. It says here, just you being there changes the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we just have to show up. It's like what I'm doing right now. I'm just showing up. Whether I have a person who was interviewing or not, or talking to, I just show up, regularly, and just being there. Say if you can be there for someone else, just be there. All right, be present. That's just my kids will always tell me that. Even my wife, she's like, "Oh, you're here, but you're not even present." She would always remind me. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in our special guest for tonight. His name is Joel Remandaban. He's actually also a physical therapist, but I've been following him, probably like 2 or 3 years already. In one of the group that I'm in, like a mastermind group, and then I'm really inspired by in his life. You know why? Because he's a physical therapist. I mean, obviously he's a dad, and then I saw his journey getting his kidney transplant. All right, I don't know if we're going to talk about that today, but his topic for today is the 5 habits of healthy, wealthy, and happy people. But I also want to ask him, his journey in pushing in looking at the best things in life, because I saw him asking people for help. Hey, I need a kidney. I need help. And sometimes we just need help, ladies and gentlemen. We forget to ask help. We're like, oh, I don't need help. I think I can do it all. And sometimes we just have to use, asking. ASK, the ask method, ask method. ASK, letter ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, and knock and it will be open to you. Ask, asking the right question. Just don't ask somebody, random people. Ask the right person, right? Just like in therapy, people, we got clients that will come in our clinic and they would ask the question to a physical therapist like me, and I would give them the right answer. Imagine if they asked me about some random stuff, like let's just say about cars. Well, I know a little bit about cars, but let's just say about makeups. All right. Hey, Dr. Mike, what do you know about, foundation? I don't know. That's my wife's expertise, right? And so when you're asking, ASK, letter A is asking you, you have to ask the right person. Okay. Next letter is letter S. You got to learn how to seek, seek and you shall find. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. And that's what Joel did. Joel or Joel, the American accent. Joel, right? So you got to seek Whatever you're looking for, he was looking for a kidney. Guess what he found? He found a kidney, right? For himself, right? And then last but not least, letter K. You gotta learn how to knock. Knocking on that right door. Keep knocking, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he did. He kept on knocking. Did that first door open? No. He probably knocked 1,000 times looking for his kidney. Well, guess what? On his 999th time, did he stop? No, because the next door could be your next breakthrough. So just keep knocking, okay? All right, without further ado, we're gonna bring in the master, whatever they call him, Joel Remandaban. He's a physical therapist.
What's up, Mike?
There you are, Mr. Joel Remandaban. I like saying your last name, man. So could you please tell us again who you are, what you do, and how can we find the 5 habits of healthy, wealthy people, sir?
Well, first, I'm still looking for the habits of healthy, wealthy, and happy humans. But in the process of that, I went through a lot of hardships. First, my name's Joel. I was born and raised in the Philippines. Went to University of Santo Tomas I was actually born in the hospital there. Then went to grade school, high school, and then college in physical therapy. Graduated on my 20th birthday, March 27, 87. Came to the U.S. on 8/8/88 with only
I wasn't even born then.
$800 to my... Yeah, I'm a true and true Tomasian. So I came here to Texas, arrived in Texas with only $800 to my name. I purposely did that because I believe in numerology to some extent. And when I was in the Philippines, when I was an infant, I had either acquired, I'm not sure if it's genetic, but I had this ailment. It's an autoimmune disease called IgA nephropathy that I almost died when I was an infant. Now, had it not been for my father, who was back then alive, of course, who was a doctor, a family doctor back in our town in Tabangon, Leyte, I would have been dead. So my mother discovered that I was peeing dark, foul-smelling, frothy urine. So my father saw it and immediately diagnosed me correctly and saved my life. That was my first near-death experience. I had 2 since then, so that's a total of 3. So I came to the U.S. Unbeknownst to me, my kidney disease was progressive. So I was working first as a traveling therapist for 6 years, and then I opened my own clinic, and then I opened my own home health agency. And at age 35, which was almost 20 years ago, I had back pain and went to seek my doctor, my nephrologist, my kidney specialist help. And the moment I told her that I have a history of kidney disease, the immediate response was to get a biopsy of my kidney. And sure enough, at the time I was around 34, 35. She discovered that I already was in stage 3. So by the time 2010 came, which when I turned 43, it was already stage 4. Then I had a wake-up call. So I immediately decided to change my life, change my diet, change my habits. Back then, I already developed obesity. I was 35% BMI. My BMI was 35%, which means I was morbidly obese. I was 205 pounds. My weight when I came
Are
to
you
the
looking
US...
at me when you said morbidly obese?
No, I did not do that. So when I
I am
arrived, I was
actually
only
right now
weighing
with my
120
BMI.
pounds. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
I I shot up to like 85 pounds heavier by the time I reached my 15th year in America. So I did a drastic change. I changed. I read a book, and I challenged myself to lose weight. I was hoping for 30 pounds in 30 days, 1 pound a day, which was really unheard of. But I challenged myself, and I made it to losing 29 pounds in 33 days. Now, I did it again in 2013. In the fall of 2013, I lost another 29 pounds in 33 days. So in 2018, um, beginning, actually today, today, um, how long ago is that? 2018. 4 years ago today, I launched, I actually wrote, published, and launched my Fat to Fit Fast book, which was my journey of losing 29 pounds in 33 days. Twice. I launched it on this day 4 years ago, and it shot up to number one on Amazon in three categories um, in the time of 33 days. And that number has a relevant or has a significance in my story later when I relate to you why I am choosing that number. It has to do with, habit formation and goal setting and how to achieve your goals realistically and you know in a smart way. So that's my background, and we can talk about anything else about the book, about my 5-step formula, or what I've learned since then, since 4 years ago when I published and launched it on Amazon on this day 4 years ago.
Wow, wow, it's amazing. So your weight loss, was it a healthy weight loss, or is it because of your kidney disease, or
No,
mm,
actually, it helped me. It was technically not a very healthy way of losing weight because typically I put on the weight for about a decade,
mhm,
all right, and it takes time to lose weight, but luckily though, it helped me prolong my life actually because from age 35 to age 48, which is like 13 years, I was able to extend myself from stage 3 to stage 5, which is kidney failure, for 13 long years. Unheard of. Most people who reach stage 4, which I reached in 2010, 12 years ago, would have would have had a kidney failure in a year or less.
mhm,
In fact, I have a classmate, Andy, who actually went from stage 4 to stage 5 in like 7, 8 months. I know it was like less than a year. And I attribute that success from losing 29 pounds in 33 days back in 2010. So, in a way, it was an unhealthy way of losing weight, but in the long term, it was the best thing I could do to live longer. Because by then, I would have learned about kidney transplantation. I would have learned about, you know, kidney transplantation by use of a living kidney donor. Because most of the time, there's like right now, there's 120,000 um, people needing a transplant of an organ or another. 100,000 of those, 122,000, are uh, kidney potential transplantees because it
mhm,
takes longer to wait for a kidney. because unlike liver, unlike, for example, skin, unlike other organs, kidneys don't regrow. When they die, they're dead. Like by the time
Mhm.
I hit kidney failure in 2015, I was already like I was hanging on to dear life because only 11% of both my kidneys were functioning.
Mhm.
The rest of the 89% was dead, both kidneys.
Mhm.
So my act of deciding and then actually acting on it and making it happen saved my life in the end. So
So,
I
I
wrote the
mean,
book to help others.
what kept you doing this? I mean, some people will
Well,
be like, and I mean, let's face it, we got all this COVID pandemic and everything. And some people on that depressed state right now, or they're in that denial stage or angry stage or obviously depression. What kept you moving forward, Joel?
my
I mean, I know
kids.
your family or and everything, but could you please tell us? I mean, what
Yeah, my
made you
kids.
for
At the
your kids?
time when I
I'll
actually
be
when I
like so
decided to
down. I'm
lose
like,
weight,
oh gosh, I'm just gonna give up, right?
yeah, most people
You
would
give
do
up?
that. But see, my kids at the time were 8 and 4, and I was going to. It was the worst time of my life, 2010. I was going through a separation and eventually divorce. I went through a 5 year custody battle. Um, I went through some legal um, wrangling. Um, and of course, because I had kidney failure, my energy wasn't as good. But despite the fact that I was going through all these challenges, I was determined to live longer because of my kids, because they were so young back then. And then not only that, see, when I hit stage 5 kidney failure on my birthday in March of 2015, all right, I I had to get 2 jobs to pay for my mortgage. At the time, I didn't have any car payments, my child support, my bills, you know, so much so that while I was on dialysis, I would be working with one hand, with my iPad on one hand, doing quality assurance or QA review of notes of my fellow therapists in the home health agency I worked for, while my other hand, like I don't know if you can see that, that's my fistula, is hooked up to the machine.
I remember you were doing some Facebook lives when you were in the dialysis machine.
Yes,
Oh gosh, that was
yes,
really
that was
inspiring to be
2015,
honest.
man.
That
That's
was
when
really
we met
inspiring.
through Greg Todd.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I was so inspired and you were I mean, this guy here, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still watching live, comment live, watching the replay, he was doing Facebook live while he even having dialysis. He got all this tube attached to him, the blood and everything, all the tube hanging up, and he wasn't complaining. He was inspiring people. Imagine that. I mean, I know
It was
you
like
got some people who are,
a reality show in the
mhm,
dialysis center.
yeah,
Yep.
you know, and then it imagine that, I mean, to be honest, I have a friend who has an SCI, chest down, and he's still the one who's encouraging me. And here I am, able to stand up, able to walk. He can't even get up out of the bed, and he's encouraging me. And here's Joel in the dialysis center, encouraging people. You still have a purpose out there, my friends. You still have something there. If you're down and about right now, there's still something out there for you. Right, Joel?
Well, yeah, that's so true. As long as you have a why, a reason to live, and I had two main reasons to live: Simone and Anton, who were too young back then. Now they're like grown. They're pretty much very independent. But back then, I was so gung-ho about getting a living kidney donor that I used everything in my power to gather as many donors as I can, because not if you only have one or two donors, the likelihood of them being a match um, would be high. The unlikelihood would be high, meaning, I had to kiss a lot of kidneys instead of princes or frogs to get that one. See, when I did this campaign, see, it was all synchronicity, Mike. I learned how to do internet marketing, which was a precursor to social media marketing, for about a decade, because I took a hiatus from or sabbatical from physical therapy and went into online marketing and speaking. I was traveling the world speaking about email marketing. Had I not learned how to do that 10 years prior to me almost dying. So that was my second near death experience back in 2015 on my birthday weekend. And again, I was saved by a doctor. So happened that, synchronicity of synchronicities, I went to church in the Filipino Catholic church called Santo Niño in San Antonio. Beside me was my primary doctor, Dr. Escalante. And as we were listening to the sermon, I was going like this. And he noticed that something's wrong with me. And I had a big belly. I had like what we call, what do you call now? Ascites. And, which is big belly. So he opened up his clinic on a Sunday after Mass and tested me. And he immediately wrote a note, a prescription, to get me to the ER to be admitted at the university hospital right then and there. Now, had not my friends Laura and Mike not driven me to
Ako
the
yun
emergency
o
room.
somebody else or me? Just kidding.
No, it's Mike. I forgot his name, last name now. So Mike and Laura, they're like my surrogate parents in San Antonio.
Mhm.
They drove me to the ER of University Hospital in San Antonio, right? By the time I arrived there and waited, my blood level, my hemoglobin level, was at 5.5. Had we waited another half an hour or less to get me to the ER, I would have been dead, because 5.0 or lower is dead.
Mm.
What's normal is 10 to 14. So
Mhm.
they literally, another doctor, Dr. Escalante, saved my life, and my friends took me there. So it was like, what do you call it? Synchronicity, divine providence. It just so happened that
Mhm.
I was in the church beside my doctor, and I was with Laura and Mike. It was really incredible. So that faith and belief is very strong, and having that why, because if I didn't have any kids at the time, I would have given up. So what I learned from internet marketing 10 years prior, I applied to social media marketing, so much so that I hired this team in the Philippines. Okay. I had like three of them. One is a video editor, one was like a social media marketer, and one was like project manager. And one of my students back in like the early 2000s, his name is Carl Okab, already formed this virtual assistant company in the Philippines. So when he thanked me, I mean, coincidence of coincidence, April 20th of 2016, right? My doctor said, you don't have any liver problems. You're ready to go. You can get your kidney transplant surgery done. Just 4 days later, after that appointment with the doctor, Carl messages me, thanks me for being featured, for helping him. And then he was featured in the Forbes Asia 30 under 30.
Mhm.
And I asked him, "Hey, are you in college now?" I said, "No, I just got done with college. In fact, I just started this outsourcing company for pretty much internet marketing / social media marketing. So I hired his team." Okay. Again, another coincidence. What do you call that? Synchronicity. That faith or divine providence. And then we
And
had this
then, speaking
campaign.
of divine providence, let me just show something for divine providence. We'll be back in a few seconds.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
HelloNote is a truly therapist-friendly practice management solution with integrated EMR that will enhance workflow, efficiency, and patient care. HelloNote reduces error and allows you to spend more time with your patients. It comes integrated with billing. Claims are generated once a note is completed. You can bill with one click and a patient portal, which streamlines the patient intake process. Beautifully engineered and cloud-based for easy accessibility, the software works on all platforms. You can access patient records from anywhere. We also offer 24/7 support. HelloNote is the practice management solution that you're looking for.
Yes, that is HelloNote. Check it out if you need documentation system in your clinic. Check it out, hellonote.com. Well, tonight we are interviewing Joel Remandaban. He's a kidney transplant. He's been talking about his journey. And in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about the 5 habits. We're going to ask him, the 5 habits of a healthy, wealthy, happy person or human being. So let's go ahead and bring him back. Where is he at?
I'm here.
There he is. There you go. We
So
just
I
had to
did
go
this
on a quick
social
break.
media
So.
campaign on my
Mhm.
Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Continuing my story. And what resulted was, in less than 6 months from the time we started the campaign on May 1st, and by September 15th, I've already gathered 42 potential living kidney donors from all over the world. Unfortunately, the main hospital took me off their list, which was University Hospital, and I was really mad. But again, another synchronous event, synchronicitous event, was that had I proceeded with that hospital, it would have been less than satisfactory result, because I moved to the Methodist Transplant Hospital, which I found out later on was the #1 living organ transplant center in the whole world. And it's just a few miles, maybe 10, 15 miles from my house. So eventually, my donor, who has been looking for a potential recipient of his spare kidney, his name is Chris Pichado, was in San Antonio taking his grandpa to San Antonio, and he was Googling for somebody. I mean, he's an angel. This is really this guy's a godsend, because he was Googling, looking for someone to find a recipient of the kidney that he's been wanting to transplant for 8 years, because he learned about kidney donation, living kidney donation, back in 2010, same time when I reached stage 4. So what happened was that he found 2 potential recipients. One was a single 30-year-old guy, no kids, and there I was at that time like 50, 51, with I looked like I was, he said, looked like you're 1 foot in the grave, is in the grave. So I was really dying. I was like dark. I was emaciated. And most importantly, he saw my 2 kids, who were back then already about 15 and 11. And he contacted me. We met the next day. And, in like 51 days, we were transplanted. Now, the good story about it is that he's not really my direct donor. It was a 4-pair donor. It's called paired exchange, where it's like a daisy chain of 4 pairs, one donor, and then one I guess recipient, and they like crisscross. It's hard to explain in just a few minutes, but it's called paired exchange. So again, the number one hospital that had that was Methodist Hospital in the whole world. So I was really lucky. I'm a lucky guy for being at the right place at the right time. And since then I've been, basically I started with health, and then in the past 2 years I focus now on the wealth. Not just wealth in money, but wealth in time, wealth in generosity, and what most people call minimalism, which I found a better word for it. It's called essentialism, where you're not really attached to material things, but you're detached from those material things, but you're more attached to the people that you love and the experiences. So that was my focus. So my first aim was to be dialysis free. And then my second aim was to be diabetes free, because my diabetes came back 6 months after I had my transplantation. Then in the last 2 years, I focused on being debt free. So I sold my house. I gave away pretty much most of my belongings. And now all my material things that I own fit in my small car. And I'm now traveling the US and eventually the world, in the quest for this concept of living the full freedom life. To me, full freedom life is a life of time freedom, location freedom, health freedom, relationship freedom, spiritual freedom, and of course, financial freedom. So I'm on my way to that. And that's why I'm writing this book called The 5, it could be 7, Helpful Habits of Healthy, Wealthy, Happy Humans. And those people who are watching this can be a part of that journey, because I'm going to make this an interactive book. Hopefully I'll finish it by this time next year, but we don't know yet. I'm still at my journey of getting those habits down. But I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of primarily experimenting on myself, in terms of meditation, in terms of generosity, gift giving. Like last month, man, I was really, really happy because I was able to help at least 30 people, mostly from my town in Tabang Leyte, happy because I've given the most Christmas gifts to my family and some people in my town, and that made me really, really happy. And of course, having my 2 kids, being healthy, smart, good looking, that makes me happy. Just watching their videos and pictures makes me happy. So I'm still at a search for these, 5 habits of happy people, or healthy, wealthy, happy people.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, so have you written those 5 actual habits or not yet?
I have not written the book. I'm in the process
Mhm.
of writing. I know generosity, or what I call wealth and abundance, is part of it. Like giving. Because, see, here's the thing, the people who are happiest are not necessarily the most financially successful. In fact, uh, I've, 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 I've read some studies, listened to some podcasts where financially wealthy or prosperous people are actually some of the most miserable because they're attached to their money. Okay. In fact, there's a book I just finished reading and listening to at least a couple of times. It's called Die with Zero. Have you encountered that book, Mike?
No, not yet. But I've been.
It's written by a poker player named Bill Perkins. He's also, I think he started a hedge fund. Anyways, he's a venture capitalist as well as a poker player on the side. But he made his money in Wall Street, pretty much, and then angel investing. So what he says in that book, in summary, is this: you die with zero. In fact, I read another book from 20 years ago, written by Mark, I believe the last name is Levin. It's called Die Broke. Same concept. And that is, instead of accumulating your wealth, which you can't take with you, you actually give it away while you're still alive. And your goal is to die with zero money and zero regrets.
So true.
That's
true.
one concept. Another concept
You
is,
don't even have to go far. The Bible itself. It's better to give than to
yes,
receive. Just
exactly.
there was this somewhere. It's between Genesis and Revelation. It says he was Jesus. Somebody asked Jesus, you got to give up everything and then follow me. You got to learn how to give up. You have to learn how to let go stuff because that's how we are. That's how it is. Even in boxing. You just can't receive all this punches. You got to give it out so you can knock out the competition. All right, Joel, any last parting wisdom for our listeners and watchers out there?
Well, I'd like to invite them to my Facebook group at fattofitfast.com, because I'm going to be updating the book, not by writing another book with the same title, but actually applying it. And I am going to start a challenge. It's called the 33-day challenge on how to be healthy, wealthy, happy. Because in my opinion, and in my experience, it all starts with your health. Without health, you have nothing. Without health, you don't have energy. Okay? You can have all the money in the world, but not your health. You're basically dead. Okay? You might as well be dead broke. Now, the second habit that, again, I learned more and experience would be the habit of being wealthy. I chanced upon this movement called the FIRE movement just 6-7 months ago. I was introduced to it by a fellow physical therapist, Jared. And it's called FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. And that's my path that I'm taking right now. And then the last part is, of course, is happiness, whether you call it love, contentment, generosity, altruism. It's still in the umbrella of being happy or being well. It's like a well-being thing. Again, I'm just in the process of learning all this. But for now, what they can do is join and go to fattofitfast.com, join my group, and I'll even give away to some lucky members of that group a digital copy of my book, Fat to Fit Fast, and I'll be doing some videos and audios to basically get this started, the challenge, the 33-day challenge. And I'm hoping to start that in the next couple of weeks. So that's like my parting words for now.
All right. Again, thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate you. Again, thank you very much, my Facebook friends. Before I let you go, always remember the word FAST, F-A-S-T, letter F. Find friends that will bring out the best in you, because you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So who are you hang out with today? Today, I hang out with Joel. I feel like I'm amazing now, just like him, right? And next letter is letter A. Take action. All this stuff that we're doing, it's not going to do me good. It's not even going to do Joel good if you don't take action. Take action. Reach out to him. Go to his group. Follow his Facebook page or whatever he does. Take action. All this stuff. All right. And next letter is letter S. Share and subscribe. The more shares, the better. The more subscription, the better. Right. And then last but not the least is letter T. Is teach it. Why? Because when you hear it, you forget. When you see it, you remember. But when you're actually teaching it, just like what Joel is doing, you're actually going to understand it more. Again, thank you very much, my Facebook friends. Be awesome, or podcast and YouTube friends. Be awesome, be excellent, and be great. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.